channel. This is Lisa from This Pilgrim Life. I'm so glad that you are joining me. If you are new to this channel, then let me introduce you. I am a mother of five kids, and I love to share videos about real food, whole ingredient cooking, family-friendly meals, lots of it in the Instant Pot. But I also love sharing videos just about making our home comfortable and enjoyable, and also homeschool. So I homeschool all of our kids. We have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So lots of kids. It's kind of crazy. She's almost 1, so she's 11 months, the last little baby. So 8, 4, 6, 2, and 11 months. And so my 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and 4-year-old are currently in school, and we do all of our schooling here at the dining room table. And if you're interested in seeing a peek into our school setup this year, it changes just about every year. But I shared a video on a homeschool tour of all of like how we organize everything and where we do our school and all of that. So you can, I'll add a link down below. But today I'm just going to share what curriculum we are using for our homeschool this year. In the past, I have always used My Father's World, and if you're not familiar with My Father's World, it's kind of like a Charlotte Mason based curriculum, but it's all in one. So all you're doing is you're buying the one curriculum package, and it includes your math and your language arts and your science and your Bible and everything. So for the first couple of years, when my son, my oldest, was in kindergarten, first and second grade, I was just getting my feet wet in the whole homeschooling thing. I used to be a school teacher, but homeschooling is its own ball game, and so I wanted something that would tell me everything that I needed to do. All I would have to do is pull out the manual, and it would tell me just what I had to do. Because during those times, those years, I was also pregnant or nursing. So far, we haven't had a homeschool year where I haven't been pregnant or nursing, so I have really appreciated the ease of that. So in the past, we used My Father's World, but this is our first year where I am actually piecing together our curriculum, and I chose all different things for our science and our history and language arts and everything like that. So I'm going to show you and tell you about what I do for each child, and then kind of go in just a little bit into our routine and how I manage to teach all 3 kids when all of them are very much needing my direction. And so I don't have anyone who is really able to do a lot of independent work outside of my instruction. So before I go too much further, I will say, so I already mentioned that we used a Charlotte Mason-esque curriculum. So we are Charlotte Mason homeschoolers. I love a lot of different things about Charlotte Mason and her philosophies, and they really fit our family. I love how much she emphasizes the natural world and being outdoors. Charlotte Mason really puts an emphasis on children as people and as children being, individuals and seeing them as individuals. Charlotte Mason also really promotes short lessons so that your children learn to give their undivided attention in these short chunks rather than dragging things out and having them get tired over time and then maybe not wanting to pay attention. So short lessons is another huge thing. And then also a big component of Charlotte Mason's philosophy is her emphasis of living books. So books that are captivating and that really grab your attention. If you think back to the books that you remember from your childhood, they're probably the ones that are living books. The story really captivated your imagination and they stuck with you. So all that we do, we try to use as many living books in the curriculum as possible. And so that gives you a little peek into why I chose the curriculum that I did. There are lots and lots and lots of really wonderful curriculum choices out there, but this is what I've done, what I've chosen for this year. And so far, we're maybe a month or so into our school year this year, and I'm really loving everything, and the kids are as well. So I'm going to start with my 8-year-old, and then I'll tell about so I'll start with math and language arts for both of my 8 and 6-year-olds because those are both different for them. And then our history and our science, my kids do, we do it all together. So I'll share a little bit about that as well. So my 8-year-old is in 3rd grade, and this year we are going through, this is our 2nd year in this math program. And so this is Math Lessons for a Living Education, and it is kind of Charlotte Mason-esque in a way. So the way that this is, first of all, I love that it's only one book. So there's no teacher's manual or anything like that. It's just this one book. So it has everything that I read to the kids and that he works out in these books. So at the beginning, basically through the book, you are following these 2 kids. They're twins, and they're Charlotte and Charlie. And so at the beginning of each section, there is a little story to read, and then after that, it gets into the lessons. So one thing, it's Math Lessons for a Living Education. So it's very much like learning your math in real life settings. So everything that you're learning, they base it first in story form, and then they go from there. So I really appreciated it. There is a manipulatives section at the back. So different things for you to print out and laminate and use. So I haven't copied, or I haven't taken any of this out of the book because I already had it from last year. But there's definitely some hands-on components to this curriculum as well. And one of the things that I really appreciate about it also is that the lessons are short. So it doesn't take my kids very long to get through their math lessons. So they might do, like 1 page like this a day, and they go through a lot of different aspects of math as well. So very much Charlotte Mason. Charlotte Mason was not a fan of, just worksheets and exercises for the sake of doing it. So I definitely appreciate this. And my son, for what it's worth, he tested well in math. So this is all that we've done. This is our 2nd year in it, and last year it served him well. So I bought this on Amazon, and I'll link to it below. My let's see, where is my 6-year-old who is in 1st grade? He is using this one. So my 3rd grader is on level 3, and my 1st grader is on level 2. And so and you can look. They have on their website. They have a kind of like a resource to help you determine where you would want to place your kids if you're interested in looking into something like this. And then I ordered both of them from Amazon, and I want to say it was about an average $30, somewhere right around there for both of these. Each one was about $30. Okay, so that's math for my big kids. And then for my 8-year-old, for his language arts this year, we are using, I have everything in a basket down here. So off of Simply Charlotte Mason, her website, I found these off of there. So I'm using her Using Language Well Spelling Wisdom resource book. So Charlotte Mason, the way that she advocated learning spelling was by copywork and dictation and transcription and things like that. And so that's what this does. And again, it's short lessons. So right now, like this morning, he read this little quote here, and we talked about it. We talked about what it meant. It just says, practice what you preach. And then he studied it for a few minutes and then wrote it down in his notebook. And so it also has this little little blurb. We talked about syllables and determining what, which words had how many syllables. So this is what I'm using for my my 3rd graders language arts and spelling right now. He's also just reading different books, and then we're talking about it, doing a lot of narration through chapter books. And then So there's three things. There's the spelling wisdom, and then there's a teacher's book for the Using Language Well, and a student book. And the great thing about this, I'll pull it out one more time. So this right here, this Using Spelling Wisdom book, I won't have to buy another one if my kids continue to go through it. So this one is one that I won't have to buy again. So that's always a good aspect, or a good thing. Okay, and the other thing that I'm doing for my third graders language arts, and we haven't really broken into this yet, but I bought off of Simply Charlotte Mason this whole Hymns and Prose series. And so this is to practice his handwriting, and again, copywork helps with your handwriting, but also with your spelling as you learn to write the words. And then she has in here different things that you can do. Learn new words, create new sentences, read the book, and then record the words. So she has this whole program, and you can look into it on simplycharlottemason.com. I'll leave a link, but like make words from night. So different like word building exercises, and then learning the vocabulary words. And this is hymns and prose. So these are not hymns that we would actually sing. They are, although I think maybe some of them have music, but for the most part, they're just hymns that you would read and then copy and talk about what they mean. So I'm really looking forward to going through that with my kids. And then this is that's the teacher book. This is the copywork book. So you can see I have a couple different font options. I chose the Danielian print. So I just kind of like the way it looked. But so that's their copywork. All right, so that takes care of my my third graders math and language arts. He's also just reading some books. Like I'm taking different books for him to read, and then he'll read a chapter each day, and then he'll come back and tell me what he read. And so that is going well for him. Now for my first grader, so he is still learning to read, and like I mentioned with my third grader, I started with My Father's World, and he did kindergarten first and second, and it worked really well for him to learn how to read with those things. So we've stuck with that for my first grader, my 6-year-old as well. He did My Father's World kindergarten last year. I already had the teacher book, so all I had to do was buy the student book. And so I've done the same thing for first grade. I already had the teacher book, so I just bought him the student book. And I really wanted him to have that continuity of continuing his kindergarten to his first grade. So the whole phonics program, it was working well, so I wanted him to continue it until he finished and learned to read. I don't know that I will continue with My Father's World with him after this year. I'm really enjoying the whole kind of piecing together aspect of the curriculum. So this year I'm using the My Father's World teacher book, but the only things that I'm doing, this is learning God's story. And so you can see here, it has, and this is what I really appreciated when my kids were younger. I really loved that it told me what to do for everything. So it's got Bible, reading, math, and then activities, and it would have science things and things like that. So I really appreciated that when my kids were younger and I didn't really know what I was doing so much. But now that they're a little bit older and we're kind of finding our groove, all that I'm doing from this year is language arts. So he has a student workbook that we are working through. And so he's just, you can see, this is what my kids do. Your kids doodle on all of their schoolwork. So this is like this dragon thing that he drew. I don't know. I took his pencil away after he did that because they doodle. But so this is my first grader's curriculum. And then later on, he will, and my older son did this as well. He'll do this Bible notebook, which I really like this. He'll start reading this right here, his Bible reader. And then, so it has these little kind of like abridged Bible stories. And then he will copy, like, he'll, let me see what I'm trying to think. He will draw pictures and write like 1 or 2 sentence summaries and then illustrate what he reads out of his Bible notebook. And so we're going to start that pretty soon here. All right, so that takes care of my first grader and my third grader, their math and their language arts. Now, like I said, we're doing science and history together. So what we're doing for science this year is, again, I got this off of Simply Charlotte Mason, and it is 106 days of creation studies. So we do our own, we do a fair bit of just being outside and observing. My kids love animals. They love nature. So that's already pretty much a part of our daily life anyway. But I wanted something to kind of aid that and supplement. So this is a really simple book, and she recommends doing 2 to 3 lessons a week. And it just takes you through the 7 days of creation. So she has, for day 1 of creations, there's lessons on shadows and atmosphere and wind and air pressure and things like that. And so she just gives you these little activities that you can do. Now, we are doing this with the whole family. So, I mean, as much as my younger kids want to participate, they can. But it is for my first and third grader. And then my preschooler has wanted to kind of join in with her brothers a lot as well. So I'm definitely not going to tell her no. Okay, so this is what we're doing for our history and geography this year. This is just, what was it? Geography through literature. So I couldn't remember what it was there for a second. So we're doing geography, and this is Beautiful Feet curriculum, Beautiful Feet books, so you can look at all of their programs online. They have a lot of really great options. So it's basically just learning about history and geography and character and things like that through literature. So this year we're going to work our way through 3 books. The first one is Paddle to the Sea, and I have heard from so many people how much their kids loved this book. And my kids are loving it as well, so we've been really enjoying this. So this is the teacher manual, and she just gives short little lessons, and we do about 2 lessons, 2 of these a week, and then which is basically just reading a few chapters out of here and beautiful illustrations, which is always nice, and then talking about either vocabulary or different like geographical terms and things like that. And she also provides, I'm going to show you the maps. So these maps came with the curriculum, and we're working on them. We've got 3 maps, 1 for each book that we go, but aren't they beautiful? So we've, you can see here, we've labeled the lake and drawn like a sawmill and the boat and everything like that. So I'm really enjoying these, and I've heard from a lot of other people who also really loved the book. Okay, so that is almost everything. So that's math and language arts and history / geography and science. And then the other thing that I got from Charlotte Mason Simply Charlotte Mason this year is this enrichment study book. So this she gives you ideas on what to do for art, music, literature, what hymn to learn, habits, and scripture memory. So she lays it all out, what you would do, like some things you do every day, and then some things you would only do maybe a couple times a week or 1 time a week. And then I also bought, to go along with those, I have these scripture memory cards. So they have this whole system of things you're reviewing some verses every day, like you're learning your new verses every day, and then you file them into like odd and then Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all of that. So anyway, it's a whole system for scripture memorization that I got from Simply Charlotte Mason that goes along with this. And one more peek, so that's their enrichment studies. That's kind of like what you would do for your morning basket time. So all of those really great things, but she has it organized all together. So I wanted to give it a try and see what I thought about that. So other than that, there's like some little odds and ends things. Like I'm always going to be having different books that I read aloud, and that kind of, we just do all of that together. I also do my own. I don't follow any kind of curriculum for our Bible lesson, so I have some different books that I like to read from, and I will leave those linked down below. Some of our favorite like kids theology and Bible books. I'll link those down below. And then we just pick a different hymn to learn every month, and we are also part of a co-op, so we also have some things that we're doing with them, and we meet with our co-op every Friday. So that kind of fills in, you know, some gaps maybe. Now, I talked about my 8-year-old and my 6-year-old, my 4-year-old for the first time. So I've never done a preschool curriculum before, but this year, since my 4-year-old is with us so much, I went ahead and bought a curriculum. So the curriculum that I picked for her, this is the Playful Preschool curriculum, and I am really loving it. I love that she lays everything out. It is super, super well organized. So I printed everything. It's not like it's something that you download, so it's really affordable, and then you can print out the lessons. But she has so many resources. Like I said, it's really well organized. She has a lot of different pages that you can fill out. Like this is our family vision. You can see that I haven't filled it out yet. And then for each week, she has a little grid here with different activities to go through. She's got a read aloud component, a phonics, accounting skills, fine motor skills, large motor skills, practical life skills, and art skills. And these are really simple things. Like it's nothing overwhelming, but she has one of those things for each day except for Fridays, which she kind of just considers like a field trip or a play day. So, so that's the kind of the organization grid. But then she also has, there's a supply list. But then she also has like every day she lays it out. So whichever is easiest for you to look through, you can do that. So I'll give you an example of some of the different things. So like when we were learning letter A, we read how to make an apple pie and see the world. She cut open an apple, counted the seeds. We made an apple crisp. There was washing apples, paint a watercolor apple tree, just really simple, very much preschool things. But it's really great because it gives me a little bit more directed time with her, and has a lot of really fun activities for her to do. So we're really loving that. So that's it. That's our curriculum. That's everything that we're doing. I don't think I left anything out. I will leave links to everything below, as well as I'm going to have all of this organized into a blog post so that you can, if you want to go back and kind of look at it, just really quick overview, I'm going to have that in the blog post, and I'll link that below. Now, as far as how we get all of this done in the short amount of time that we have, I made a daily rhythm, and this is going to be in the blog post as well. Sorry, it's a little shiny, and I know you can't read this, but I just wanted to give you a look at it. So I printed this out and I laminated it, and this really helps to keep me on track. So I have basically the whole day on this sheet, and it is a daily rhythm. It is not a schedule. You know, I have a baby and a toddler. I have to be flexible. There's no way around, like, we cannot start or finish at the same time every day. But this kind of gives me just an order and a flow, and it really helped me sitting down and figuring this out really helped me to kind of visualize how I'm going to be able to divide up my time and my attention between all of my kids. So it was super helpful. And again, you can find this on the blog. I'll make it printable in case your family dynamics are just like ours. But for the most part, it would just be kind of like a springboard and maybe help you to see how, if you have young kids or you're kind of coming up, or even just, you know, maybe what you're doing right now isn't working, maybe it could help to give you a little bit of inspiration. So now the final thing is I'm just going to give you a quick peek at something else that's going to be available on the blog. And this is a planning sheet and a daily checklist. So this is something where I can write down what each child is doing. So the divisions are for each kid. And I can kind of do, this is a week at a glance. And then there's also a daily checklist, because if you have young kids, or you are teaching multiple kids of different ages, then it's easy to kind of forget what you're doing each day or what you've gotten done. So I'll just check it off as I've done it, and then I can say it's the afternoon and we have a little bit of time. I can kind of give this checklist a glance and see if I have left something off that we need to come back and do. So both of those printables are available on the blog. So I know this was kind of like a fire hydrant, but I've got 3 kids, so it's a lot to cover. If you have found this helpful, then give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more things like this, if you like homeschool content, or just homemaking in general, or if you enjoy food videos as well, you can go back and look at what I have available. But I would love for you to join me. Click subscribe, and do go check out the blog post if you want a closer look at some of these resources. All right, well, that's it, guys, and I will catch you guys later.